Hello, everybody, and
Hello.
welcome to I don't know what the release party of Flame version 1. It is finally out. Woo!
Yes, finally. After
Yeah,
so many months.
yeah, so many. We started maybe I counted it to 14 months ago or so, and we thought that it would just be a few months until we would release V1, but it ended up being more than a year.
We thought that release candidate 7 would be the last one, and
Yeah.
we got like 19 in total. So
Yeah, and release candidate 7, that was, I don't know, somewhere in the spring, I think, guess. Yeah. At least I hope you all today saw that we had a collaboration with Google or the Flutter team, that they released an article together with us where they released Flutter 2.8, right?
yes.
And then had a fairly big section about us in there.
Yeah,
It's like a fourth of the article almost. That's nice.
that was really cool to see that to see us mentioned on the article and look
Yeah,
at the games. I think that was what I most liked to see. Don't be
yeah,
told to see Bonfire and Gravity Runner screenshots on there. It was
yeah,
really, really cool.
indeed. Indeed, really cool. And it's nice that they like now they're noticing that we're here. We're making some impact.
Yeah, and the future promises a lot, right?
Indeed. Indeed does. I don't know, when we're talking about the future, we could talk a little bit about our future, I guess. I mean, we don't have any real roadmap built up yet because we have been so busy just to get version 1 out there. And now is when the planning starts for the future
Yeah,
and what we
we
want
will
to
need
do.
to get together and decide, but I think there are some things that are for sure, right? Like
Yeah.
some things like for example, desktop support. I think that's
Mm,
something that we will want to improve on the near future.
definitely. And some gamepad support also, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, that for sure. Hopefully, gamepad support on desktop too. That will be
Mm,
quite a challenge, but it would
yeah.
be a nice challenge, a cool challenge to
Yeah.
implement.
Yeah. I mean, that then you can build, all of a sudden, you can just build small, like, you can build your own video game system just from whatever. A little bit like Chris did with the Raspberry Pi or what he wanted to
Yeah,
do.
imagine a Flame Boy console, something like
Yeah,
that.
slightly. That would be cool. Right. Should we maybe talk a little bit about what new features we have in version 1?
Yeah,
Should we show examples at the same time? Maybe yes, on the examples page.
yeah, I think that would be nice.
Let's see if I can share a screen today or not. I haven't tried.
I can share in any case.
Let's try. Share screen. Can I get that out? This one a bit smaller. Whoa.
What is happening?
I am changing the sizes of the windows so that it will be visible on here. Okay, that looks okay, right?
Yeah,
Sweet. So if we open the list here, I don't know, it's not very good to zoom here, I think, but
oh, I think you have some cache. This is the old version.
is it?
Yeah, we don't have the.
Oh, that's true. Did we? Oh, that's the new version, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just a simple refresh and it fixed it. Okay. So I don't know. Basic animations. We had that before. Group animations. That's actually new in version 1, so that you can do.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can talk a bit about that since you coded that one.
Yeah, basically just an animation, a component where you can have more than one animations, where you can have like a state machine. So like you can have animation for when your character is idle, and you have animation for when your character is running. So basically you can change those states and make it easy to handle that instead of having multiple sprite animation components. You have a single one with multiple states.
Yeah, that was a great improvement. It helped a lot in the
Yeah.
games we built now. And you can see here on the example, you just like press and it will start walking. And if you release it, it's idle. As Sprite, how do you pronounce this? I read it everywhere, but I don't know how to pronounce
I
it.
don't know. I call as a sprite. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
Ace sprite.
yeah. That support we had before, I guess.
Yes.
The whole camera and the viewport
This
section.
a fun fact about this. This was the first feature I implemented on Flame ever.
Oh, was it? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, then we have the camera and the viewport, and that is completely new. There was no camera or viewport or zooming or anything that was in Flame before.
Yeah, we actually had a camera. It's a super simple camera before View 1, but it was way simple.
Yeah, yeah, and it was not. Yeah, you couldn't follow components and things like that, right? And it didn't take care of component children and stuff like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was basically a shortcut through canvas.translate. So
Yeah.
you have to handle most of the things by hand.
Yeah. Yeah, so here we just see like some zooming, scrolling out. Yeah, and the viewports. So I don't know, for the people that don't know what the viewport is, it's very good to have if you expect the devices that your application is going to be run to have different sizes or different aspect ratios.
Yeah.
Because it might be like all of a sudden your game might be super simple or super hard depending on the aspect ratio of your screen. So with this fixed resolution viewport, you can also have a lot of other viewports, but that's the one that is shown here. You will ensure that everyone has the same like capabilities, depending not like it doesn't depend on the type of screen. Yeah, Joachim is here too. You want to join the stream? I guess he wants to join. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Oh well, welcome. Thank you. I mean,
We're just going through the examples and like seeing what's new in V1.
yeah, I was following the stream already.
Sweet. So yeah, what more do we have? Yeah. I don't know, this one, I don't know if it doesn't show much if you're just looking at it like this. I guess it shows like, because now we have 3 different coordinate systems, right? So we have the coordinate system of the camera that is moving around inside of the game, and you can place your components according to that. Or you can place your components according to the viewport, or you can place your components according to the screen. That's a little bit what this one is showing. Next section, that's also completely new with the collision detection. And so the collision detection it doesn't do any physics or anything. It doesn't react to if 2 components collide. It doesn't do anything. It just tells the programmer that these 2 have collided at this point, and then the programmer has to react to that. If you want like a full-blown physics engine, then it's still Forge 2D. That is the way to go. And yeah, here we just have a lot of different examples showing how to use it.
For simple collision, it is quite useful, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
Devil and I have used it for our Moonlander article.
Mm.
It was also quite easy to set up, so kudos to that, Lucas.
Yeah, I think that's the point, right? Like 42D is not that easy to set up.
Oh no, it's
This
definitely not.
system is super simple.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, most of the times you don't need anything with real physics. You just need to emulate a little bit of it. Yeah, we have the composability of components. That existed in some sense before V1, right? But not
Yes.
like now.
We
Not with the
did
full
have
translations, right?
yeah, we have a composed component before V1, but it was very limited and bugged. We had
Yeah.
a lot of like edge case that we didn't handle that at that time. So
Yeah, so what you can see in this component, or in this example, is basically one parent component, which is this big square, and then there are these smaller squares that are just added to that component. And the small squares, they don't have to do anything to like follow this rotation of the parent component. They are just added to the parent component and updated accordingly, automatically by the engine.
yeah.
Priority we had, I think. For the people
Yeah.
that don't know what that is our like Z index of.
But it's more integrated now, right?
Yeah, it's more integrated for sure.
Because before it was just a property, and when we added it to the component system, then it was just set. But if you changed it, it didn't do anything. I believe that was a pre-V1.
Yeah.
But now you can change it at
Right.
runtime whenever you want, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Debug mode we had before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that is new in V1 now is that everything is a component basically, or most things at least. So even the game class is a component. So you can add a game to another game if you would like. So here you can see there are actually two different games running on top of each other, interacting. And this is a big one, the effect system. That one is completely new. And we actually had a new effect system first in all of the release candidates, but that has been completely refactored again by ST Pasha, and he's done like a really great job. Big kudos to him for that one. And in this one, you can see like the effects can be much more advanced now, and it's not hard to implement your own effects. So here you can see different move effects, and like these ones are following a path that is not straight, but is going, they're following an arc, which we didn't have before, which is very nice. Do a lot of cool things there. And then these, you can have effects together, and they compose. So if you put several rotate effects on something, it will still work. So here you can see that there are several rotate effects trying to affect this compass here, and you can still see that it's working. Yeah, and these ones look the same as before, the size effect and the scale effect. All right, the scale we didn't have in before, right?
We didn't have effects prior to V1.
Right, we didn't have any effects at all. But you must have started, because you did the first
Yeah.
small step of.
But it was already on V1.
Yeah, right.
On the previous candidates.
It has been so long.
So effects is a completely new feature.
Yeah.
It has actually been rewritten 2 times, right? So I did first version, then you did another shot, and then Pasha did another refactor.
Yeah, that's awesome to see how something developed that much. But yeah, another thing we didn't have is a scale. So before we only had size. You can see the difference here, that this one sizes up the component, and that just changes the size of the parent component. So this small, the scale here, that one scales up both the parent component and all of the child components. So everything grows together. And both of them are useful in different scenarios. And then we have the opacity effect and color effect. And I mean, yeah, you can talk a bit about this one, Eric, because you kind of started these ones.
Yeah, basically just an effect that when you apply, you can animate the opacity of your component. So like you can have like fade in or fade out and things like that. Not much, but it looks good.
Yeah, it does. It's super useful. I think it makes things look very cool easily. And like the color effect too, you can see here how it's like tinted to blue.
Yeah, it's just cool. Like if you want to man that Ember got a power up,
Yeah.
an icy power up, and then you put a blue, and you can have a cool effect without having to deal with art. Very
Exactly.
useful.
That's good for us that are not that good for art. Or not, well, for me, I should say, because you actually did some pretty nice art for our last game. And then we have a simpler effect called the remove effect, but it's very handy too. So you can just, like when I click on this one, it is I think it's a duration of 2 seconds or something now, and then it will remove it. But you can set whatever duration or that activates this effect when something else happens. And
Yeah.
very simple, but very handy. Input, I don't know, tappables we had, I think. Draggables, we had
Yes.
that too, I think.
I think only tappables we had.
Okay, maybe we didn't have draggables then.
No,
Yeah.
this is new.
It's good that you remember things, because I don't remember anything what happened that long ago. Yeah, so the draggables, you just add the draggable mix into your component, and you add has draggables mix into your game, and you can react on drags. And hoverables is even newer. That is only useful if you're at a computer, because you can't really hover on a like touch screen, I guess. Keyboard, I think we pretty much that we had before, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Maybe we just had the raw keyboard input things from Flutter, or maybe not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Well, then we have this one.
Yeah.
Is just
Yeah. That's
reacting to
why
also.
to use we improved it. We had before, but it used a not so good API to do what we had to do. Nothing wrong with the API, but there was better alternative, so we refactored that.
Yeah. This one is new too. You can follow mouse movement.
All the mouse ones are new.
Yeah, mouse cursor too. It's just changing the cursor when you go over here. Scrolling, like ooh. It's nice when you can scroll horizontally at the same time as you go vertically. Yeah, I guess you can do that on your mouse too when you have the trackball. That looks cool.
This will be hard to demonstrate.
Yeah, so this is exactly. This is the opposite. This one isn't possible to do on the computer if you don't somehow emulate several mouses at the same time. So this one you can see multitap, so it shows one box for each finger that you press down.
Yeah.
And I think on this one you can like even drag the boxes with all fingers at the same time.
Yeah, this demonstrates that we can like have mulch gestures with a different gesture. The first one is just tap. And this example, you do tap and drag.
Right. So. Yeah, that's very handy. And here you can see how events are propagating. Like you can choose to not propagate the events to the components that are behind something. So if you see this rectangle here, it's above this one, and if you click it, it's only the top one that moves. But I can still move the bottom one if I click that one. And that can be pretty useful. But you can also choose to, if you return true on these event handlers, then the event will go through to all the events behind. Oh, we have some questions here. Thanks. Can you provide some performance statistics? How much sprites and animations can run without burning the CPU? That is a very hard question to answer because it depends on so many things. Like, it depends on the device you're running and what platform you're running on that device, and if you're using like the Sprite batch or Draw Atlas when you're doing it. And actually, we haven't run. We have like a performance test game that we're running, but we haven't done much statistics or such.
Yeah, it depends a lot on the code, on the hardware. What I can say is that we were able to run like 3,000 sprites at the same time and have good FPS. But that doesn't mean much because our example was simple. If your game is like do more heavy logic, it will be different. So it is hard to provide some good statistics about that.
Yeah, it is indeed. And I mean, as soon as you add like the collision detection, it will definitely not work on 3,000 sprites going against each other. We had another one here. One of the biggest problems I've run into with animations is the weight of the atlases. The possibility of development with Rive through Flamerive seems fundamental to me.
Yeah, you can already. Flamerive is available.
Yeah. And it hasn't been available for that long. So if you haven't checked it out, really check it out. You can do really cool things with Rive.
Yeah, and I did talk about it on the last FlameCon as well.
Indeed.
Yeah. There is the weight of the atlases, yeah. And now also it should be better performance for the... Wait, what was it now again? The thing you did, Joachim? The fallback that you removed.
Basically the web fallback for the sprite matching stuff. So now I believe you turned it off by default.
Yes, exactly.
But if you want to enable it, you can enable it. So basically that's the rendering on the web. The Draw Atlas method that we used was not available before, and it is now available, which is really dope.
Yeah, it's very nice because that makes things
performs a lot better.
Yeah. Right, where were we? Overlapping tappables. Why is that on input? Oh, okay. Yeah, these sections are a little bit confusing sometimes. That joystick we didn't have before, I guess.
No.
Drive around with... you can easily put a joystick on here and some buttons doing things. It makes it easier to build your UI if you don't want to use... It's like easier to build all these things inside of Flame than to use Flutter buttons or such. Yeah.
It also works quite easy. You can just using our hard component system. There's someone with an interesting question, Lucas.
Oh, okay.
I knew you want to answer.
Did you hire this guy?
No, I did not. But it's quite an interesting question. I think in the long run we will eventually support shaders, but it really depends on Flutter in this case, because we do not have full access to the GPU. So at the moment we can't really use shaders, but it is something they have been working on. I believe that is currently merged to master. I'm not sure if they're still working on it for any near future, but it will allow for texture shaders and pixel shaders, which is quite awesome.
Yeah, that will open up so many possibilities for cool things.
Especially performance increases on our side. That would be amazing if we could do that.
It will also enable a lot of different effects, because right now we are relying on like the paint class to do the color effect and things like that, and they are a little bit limited. So
if you could just pass a shader to the paint object and
do whatever,
do things based on coordinates and that kind of stuff, that would just
Mhm.
opened up a whole new world for us.
Yeah.
Indeed. The Parallax, I think we had it before.
Yeah.
And it's there's not much difference in there. There's probably some bug fixes and stuff, but not much.
Just
else.
some refactors.
Yeah. The layers are new though, I think. Those I think Hanan did those ones sometime in last spring.
Yeah, I don't know why it's named layers, but this is showcasing that you can add animations to Parallax now. You couldn't before. You only could have images.
No, isn't that this one?
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think this is just one layer with the parallax, and then he just has a sprite component on top here, or a sprite animation component on top.
Not sure.
There is another layer example which makes more sense, I think, which is, where is it? You know, that one with the shade?
Yeah. I don't know where that is. Oh, on rendering, like 2 sections above. Yeah.
Oh, there, layers. Oh yeah, so here you can see this layer is first rendered, and then there is like this shadow processor behind it, which is also rendering the same layer, but that gives the effect of shade, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so Parallax, yeah, so this one was new too, right? That was something you implemented, Eric. That's pretty cool.
We couldn't have animations before, so only sprite static images.
Yeah, very nice. And I think we had most of these things before, but now we have more options to give styling to the text, because now we can use the same text style object as they use in Flutter, which makes it possible to do like these shading things on text. And yeah, there's plenty of options to sets there. You can do whatever you want with your text.
Also worth noting that the API was very limited before, and now it basically has an abstraction above it. So now you can like implement your own way of rendering text.
Oh, yes.
This will enable things like bitmap fonts in the future, but it's something that we want to add support eventually.
Yeah, that would be cool. Did we have the isometric tile map before?
No, this is new.
I think the answer to my question on most of these questions are, yeah, it's new. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Improved.
Yeah. That's nice. I don't know. Do we have anything to say about this one?
Well, is it isometric?
Or was it diametric, or what was the other ones called?
Diametric.
Yeah.
But no, it is isometric.
Let's see here. We have a question. I see you use a lot of low pixel assets. Are this a pixel perfect effect built in on the viewport? I mean, we use a lot of low pixel assets because I think a lot of people in the team like that kind of art. But I don't understand the other part of the question. Are these a pixel perfect effect built?
I think it's like if you have high quality assets, and then you automatically can render them based on your viewport to a lower pixel resolution.
Okay.
I assume that's what they're trying to say.
Right.
Correct us if you correct us, Tony, if you meant something else. But...
That makes sense. You actually tried to do that once, right, Eric?
I'm not sure.
I thought you tried to like make something look more, or maybe that was just for text, that you tried to make it like more pixely than it was.
Oh, I think you are mentioning the time I want to make the old TV effect.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the CRT effect.
Yes, CRT. Yeah.
Yeah, it is at the moment not really possible to apply some kind of rendering effect on the canvas itself because we do not have shader support.
Yeah, that also comes with a shader support.
We actually can with the save layer method on canvas, but it's super heavy and is quite limited because it relies on the paint object.
Yeah, and it runs on the CPU instead of the GPU, where you want your rendering compositions to happen.
That was what I used to make the OTV effect, but it don't only work because it was a simple example. On a real game with many things, it would probably look very laggy.
But maybe in the future we can support things like that using shaders. Pixel perfect shaders. It should not be hard to support that, but
indeed.
We need access to the GPU on the paint object.
Yeah, the future hopefully brings that. We can just continue. We have the 9 tile box, which is like a rendering mechanism that is quite good to use if you want to build like menus and stuff, for example, because you can scale it infinitely. So it is basically an image or 9 images that are split like this, and you always keep the corners, and then the images in between, they should be images that you can stretch and shrink, and that makes this this box can shrink and grow infinitely. Didn't we have some settings for this one so you could make it bigger? Oh, we can press it maybe.
Yeah, this is really useful for dialog boxes and that kind of things.
And it's hard to see on this example, I think, how it works, but
it's probably use some different assets.
Yeah, something that's more clear. But yeah, it works very well. Flipping sprites we didn't have support for before either, I think. So now
we did, but it was very limited.
Right. Yeah, it's very useful if your character hits a wall and you might want to go the other way. You don't want to have another asset for it going left. That one we looked at. The particle system, I think that existed before. That is something we have barely touched at all since there was like an external person from the community that built it. And then we haven't done much more on it. But it's still very useful. You can do a lot of cool things with it.
The API is great. We didn't have to change much. We just changed like instead of using offset, we changed to use vector 2.
Right.
That we change.
Yeah, that's another big change overall in the engine that we use vector 2 everywhere now.
Yeah.
Which makes it simpler to like add up vectors and do different vector operations. Together with, if you have a size and a position, you might want to combine it. Yeah. Well, do we have any more questions here? No. The sprites, the basic sprites we had, base 64 sprites, I don't think we had, right? That's something you also implemented.
I don't know. I don't remember this. I think not.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Yeah, can be very handy. Sprite sheets we had support for, I guess.
Yeah.
And sprite batching. So that is one of the things. API. Yeah. Talk a bit about the sprite batching and what it does for you.
Basically the sprite batching is, as the name tries to explain, it allows us to batch multiple sprites into a single call to the GPU. So basically you can just render a lot of sprites, as you can see here, in a single call. And the only thing you have to do is build up your sprites and their positions. And then you can render them on the screen. It's really good for performance reasons.
Yeah.
We have another question, which we won't have a satisfying answer for. You can, you cannot rotate around the Z-axis at the moment, unfortunately. Or yeah, it's not very useful for 2D games, I guess, but it's probably useful for some cases. But we don't have it. That is possible to do, though. For like, you can build it yourself quite easily, because you can do it on the canvas, but it's not built in on the position component, which is the base component for most of our components like this. Oh, I removed the Yahoo instead of removing the question.
How dare you?
There we go. Sprite group is also new, I guess, and that's a little bit similar to the animation group that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. The same thing, but for static sprites instead of animations.
So you can build a button very easily with it, for example. Pausing and resuming the engine. I think we had that before, but it barely worked.
Yeah, we had a lot of bugs in there.
But those have been squashed.
Yeah, very nice. The overlay system. This is a really bad example for the overlay system, I think, because you don't understand that this is a Flutter widget.
Yeah.
The article that Devil and I are doing has a way better example of that.
Yeah.
I recommend checking it out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so this example, this one here in the middle, is a Flutter widget, I think. And the overlay system, it makes it possible to put Flutter widgets on top of your game. Yeah, this is not very interesting. This is building a game without all of the Flame game properties. It's basically only using the game loop.
Yeah, without the Flame component system as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically, if you want to build your own engine, you can on top of Flame. Timers and timer components, they can be handy to use, but not much to say about them. Wait, do we have 9-tile box again here? Oh, this is for a widget.
These are the widgets that we provide as well.
Right. Did you create this one too, Eric?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Ah, yeah, this is the one where you can change the width and the height. Here you can actually see a little bit clearer how it can scale better. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, so all these are more useful for if you're going the other way around. You want some things from Flame, but put it into your Flutter tree. Like here you have a Flutter button, but it's created from sprites. And here, like, if you want an animation inside of your Flutter app, but don't want to have a full Flame game, you can use Sprite animation widget.
This one always makes me smile because it's a smile without a smile.
Yeah, this was super confusing in the code too, because it said if you press, then you will see the smiley will smile. You will see the smiley or something. It was very confusing. And then I was like, what? It only has eyes. So this one is a custom painter component. I don't even know. What does this one do?
Yeah, basically on Flutter, if you want to create a widget which you want to do some custom renderizations, you have this custom painter class where you basically get access to the canvas. You can draw whatever you want there. So basically this wraps this custom painter from Flutter and allows you to render that on a Flame game. This is useful because this is very much edge case, but maybe you have a custom painter that you want to display on both your Flutter app and your Flame game. So this basically allows that.
Right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this also allows the use, like there is a tool called, I think it's Flutter shape maker, if I remember correctly, which you can use to draw custom paint. You visually draw and export the code of custom painter. So it will also allow the use of that tool, for example.
We have another question here. Does Flutter support normal maps? Does normal maps mean like, I don't know, Google Maps or something?
Or does it mean like the normal maps on a 3D object?
Yeah, exactly. Could you explain a bit more what your question is about, Stephen?
In the
And we
meantime,
can-
Tony also had a suggestion, but I think you should show it. He was asking if we could put the code for those examples on the page as well, but they are basically built into the example.
Yes.
But you haven't
So-
shown it yet.
Yeah, I think so. This is something we should also make clear on Dashbook, because a lot of people don't understand this. So say that you are, look at something simpler. Say that you're here on the tappables example. Then you can press these two, what are these brackets called again in English? I always mix up which brackets, angle brackets maybe. Then you can press the angle brackets and it says C code. And if you press that one, you get to the GitHub code. Now
You're not sharing that screen.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, yeah. But you just have to trust me. You get to the source of that example and you can see how it was implemented. And if you just want to go to all examples, you can go to our GitHub, and on the Flame repository, there are a lot of all of the source for all of the examples are there. So you can just look around in the source instead of looking around from this end. Okay, now we got some normal maps or textures of normals on 3D objects.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, we currently do not support 3D rendering. So in that sense, we also do not support normal maps, nor does Flutter. Like there has been some 3D work purely in Flutter already by some people, but it is all based on CPU and it's really
won't work in the right. Do we have anything else we would want to show? Right, another thing that are on some examples that we can repeat again, like on this, if there is this little pen up here, and you can press it and you can change the properties of the example, which can make it easier to understand it and see that how it visually changes. Yeah. But that is only on some examples.
Honestly, it is quite awesome, the package that we used for this, called, what was the name again, Eric? Dashbook.
I wonder who made that package. So that is something that Eric has made. It's a super handy. Yeah, that is something new with V1 too. We didn't have examples like this before, right?
You can also display how it would look on a device.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's will it work with the Parallax?
Yeah.
So we can choose any phone here. We want the Samsung Galaxy S20, and then boom, that is so cool.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Eric is like sneakily developing features, because that one I was like, what button is this? And I mean, I'm in on the examples page all the time doing tweaks.
With every new deployment, we get a new feature.
Yeah, exactly. You can change the orientation, and yeah, very cool. Oh, what?
Yeah,
you can remove the. Nice. This would be a cool phone. Yeah, I think that's all from the examples, right?
I think so.
We could actually go in and show the new docs page too, because that is something new for.
Yeah,
that has been completely redone as well.
Yeah.
Both textually and visually.
Yes. Let's see. Share screen. There we go. So maybe we can zoom in a bit here. So this is what it looks like now, and now it's updated to version 1.0.0. But here there will be more versions in the future, and I mean right now you have the release candidates here too, but you should update from them to version 1 as soon as possible. And in here you can search quite easily, and if you'd like, I don't know, what do we want to search for? Audio. You'll get highlighted results, and you can find what you're looking for. And that's another thing that we're planning to do in the future: integrate the examples into the docs so that we can have like interactive examples together with the documentation explaining the part of Flame.
We could do that with Flamepad, right?
Ah, that would be cool too. Yeah.
If it's a single file, we could just embed it and display it.
Mm.
Flamepad is basically our equivalent of Dartpad. It's a fork of Dartpad with Flame enabled. Get Flame part of the recommended packages for Dartpad, because they are now supporting third-party packages.
Ah, that's cool. That would be nice.
I don't think we are useful because of assets and that kind of stuff, but it'd still be awesome.
Yeah, it would be indeed. And wasn't there something you had to do specifically when you tweaked Dartpad to be Flamepad? That was not really supported by Dartpad. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was basically the external packages. That's something I had to basically hack into Dartpad. But that's not something they support now out of the box. They have like a list that you can just add to with versions. And then they are available at Dartpad. But you have to still update the source repository for that.
Right.
Luan has a good idea in the comments.
Yeah. But wait, if Flamepad is Flamepad running?
Yes.
Is it?
Already
What?
exited at what was it again? Flamepad. Or pad at flameengine.com.
Share the screen and I can.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Show it.
Oh, I should not share screen at the moment. My internet is.
Okay. I can share.
I've sent you the link.
Where did you send it?
In here,
Discord.
In here.
In here.
StreamYard.
Oh, right. There are chats everywhere. There we go. Okay. Engine.org. Let's get that one up.
But yeah, that's still using release candidate 14, I think.
Yeah, that's old, but it's still cool. So if anyone have used, what is the biggest thing that uses
If
this?
you go in the top right at the samples, you should have different flame samples as well.
Okay. Rotating squares. Let's try it. Did I press run? I don't know.
Yeah, you have to have some patience.
Oh, maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
Ah, that's cool.
Rotating squares.
Yeah. That's still awesome that you can just write code in here and directly get feedback, and it's all online.
The only problem with it is you don't really have proper assets, so you have to get them from networks and that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
But it's really cool for reproducibles and that kind of things, because I do believe it supports GitHub gists as well, just like normal Dartpad, so you can easily share some Flame code.
That's cool.
We should promote this a bit more, because
we should definitely if it's up and running and I don't even know about it, we have definitely.
I just got a message on Discord from someone saying, "Hey, I wasn't even aware Flamepad existed." I was like.
Yeah, we should put the link to it on our the main page too.
Yeah,
maybe that's another thing that's gonna be new, I guess. Anon wants to rebuild our homepage. Looking forward to that.
So can you rebuild it in Flutter?
Yeah, I think he was not gonna rebuild it in Flutter.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have some questions here too. You plan to support 2D lights? But that we could do without the shader, I guess.
There is 2D lights on Bonfire, actually. Rafa did this on Bonfire.
Yeah, that would be a really cool thing to build too. Like, I mean, we don't have any ray tracing or anything at all at the moment, but that is not hard to build, and it's very useful.
I don't think you even really need that, right? Because it's basically just different blend modes, like multiple layer. I think that's how Raphael solved it in Bonfire.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he used blur on the color filter or something like that.
Yeah.
It would basically
right.
be what we could use to do the glow effect that we have planned to do, but never did.
Yeah, and Luan says back when I used Box 2D on Java, there was an extension just for 2D lights. And there was actually someone commenting on Forge 2D that said that it would be cool to have the 2D lights on there. And they were going to look into how to porting it over. But I don't know. People often come in and say, oh, I can take a look at this, but that never happens. Nothing happens.
I mean, Forge 2D and Box 2D is already really complicated, so
yeah.
I do get that they're like, never mind.
Yeah, when you get in there, you're like, aha.
And the Box 2D lighting extension uses ray tracing and that kind of stuff, so it's way more complicated than just using a blend mode for a 2D game thing.
Yeah, we should have a look at that for position components, anyways. For later, let's write it down.
I also love how I'm saying these things and someone else on Discord, Devil, is sending me exactly the same thing. Yes, blend mode, yes. Forge has ray tracing. I love that interaction. He should just send them in the YouTube chat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, do we have any more questions in here? Plans for particle system?
We do have one.
Yeah, we already have the particles, which is completely agnostic. Like, it does not have to be. You don't even have to use the flame component system for it. But we do have a particle component, of course. But...
Yeah. Didn't you try to use that in Oxygen?
I did. It also works with Oxygen in the Oxygen bridge. Oh, that's maybe something we should discuss next. The different bridging packages that we now have. Yeah,
we have 7 minutes left, but we can quickly go over the
quick rundown of just one thing, and then people can just check them out themselves.
Yeah, that sounds good. I will pull up our. What? When I wrote flame readme, I got up. Oh, okay, that was not. This is the correct one. Oh wow, GitHub looks horrible when it's not in dark mode.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's share screen. I'm using Firefox, but StreamYard works much better with Chrome. So now I'm using it. So now I'm not logged in here, so it doesn't know that I want dark mode. But anyways, down here we have the bridge packages.
Yes.
So maybe one of you can explain what the bridge package is to start with.
Well, basically the bridge packages are a way of basically bridging different functionalities towards Flame, allowing us, for instance, like the Flame audio, allowing us to have the ability to play audio files without having to fully implement that into Flame, allowing Flame to be more focused on just the game stuff, the game engine, and you can just add things like Flame audio to add audio stuff. But if you don't want to use audio plays, because that's a native package, you could, for instance, also use Ocarina, but we don't have a bridging package for that, but you could just implement that yourself. So Flame is completely platform independent in that sense. That's the main goal.
And it's also easier for us if one of the external dependencies break, then they don't break Flame directly.
Yeah.
That happened a lot with audio players before.
Yeah. SVG as well.
Yes, SVG as well. So the Flame Audio basically uses audio players, which is also a package that we provide, and you can play audio.
Ocarina is also
multiple-
one that
yeah.
we provide.
Yeah, exactly. For some reason, we provide too. Flame Block, I guess you can talk a bit about that, Eric, since you made it.
Yeah, just you could already use Flutter block alongside the Flame without Flame block, but this package provides some helpers to make it easy. And even though you normally wouldn't use block or any of the common Flutter state managers to manage the state of your game, you can use it to like share state between your Flutter app and your game. That Flame block help you a little bit with that. We didn't explore too much. This is still a little quite experimental, and we do have plans on make some articles and some presentations about that to go more in depth on why it's useful and cool to use it alongside Flame.
Oh, yes. And you can take the next one at the same time, I guess, since you also made that one.
Yeah. So Parietals is a tool that I started as a hobby project, basically. It's an editor. I don't know if we have screenshots on the editor. Because I think it will be hard to describe just by words.
Can I see it by us going in here? We have the cool logo at least.
Yeah. Oh, you can access
Yeah, you could
the web
open
version.
the-
It's deployed on web.
What?
Scroll
Right.
a little down. There's a web link that you can access.
Oh, right. I can just go in here to actually see it live in. Let's see. I have one in.
It's been a while since I've used Parietals.
Lib art assets.
Also, haven't been making any games lately, so that makes sense.
Let's look at this one, for example.
Yeah, so basically it's a sprite mapper, let's say that. It's very similar to texture packer, maybe some people know that too. And it allows you from one single file create several animations and several sprite selections. So from a single file, you can have many game objects.
Yeah, it's super handy.
Yeah.
To use. Yeah, let's go back to the here. Then we have Flameforge 2D. And Forge 2D is our port of the Box 2D physics engine. So if you need more physics in your game, then you can have a look at that one. And that's another thing we're going to do now post V1, that we're going to take all the examples from all these bridge packages too and put them on the examples page. They have their own examples in their example folders, but those are going to be moved into so that you can see examples for bridge packages on the other site, so they're more easily accessible. FlameLint, a bit of a simpler one. It's just basically one file, and it's the analysis options.yaml, and it contains all the options that we use in our packages. So if you want to use the same options as we do, you can.
Though this analysis is of course more focused on packages, so.
True.
But still, it's a nice set of rules that.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can talk about the next one, Joachim.
Yay, oxygen. Yeah, there was also already a question about it, but let me first talk a bit about oxygen itself.
Mm-hmm.
Oxygen is basically an platform agnostic entity component system that I developed to as a sort of not a replacement, but more like a different option from the Flame component system, allowing you to write more in an ECS like standard, split things more up into systems and components. And well, I believe there was a question about it.
Yes, here it is. Boom.
And there is a difference, not properly benchmarked, sadly. That's still something I want to do. But the main difference is that you can filter down what components you want to adjust whenever the update cycle comes along, allowing you to have multiple systems that update different components at the same time. So in the Flame component system, all the components are like nested into each other. And with Oxygen, you can just have a system that queries for different components. And you have another system that can also query for the same components, but depending on a different query. That allows you to just update them at the same time, or pretty much at the same time. It's not fully parallel, but so there is a performance change, but not really in the sense that you're noticing a performance change. It's just the way things are handled that allows you to. So you are using more memory and gaining a little bit of performance. I should make a proper benchmark for it to showcase what I'm talking about.
yeah. But there are definitely there's like it's a trade-off. Then we have the Flame Rive. For people who don't know what Rive is, it's like, what would you say Rive is? An animation system. To create animations with it, you can go in directly into Rive and
animation engine, right?
Yeah. So you can make cool animations like these ones here, and they have also have states on the animations, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
definitely want to explore that more.
You should maybe also do like some tutorials about that. Maybe head up doing that. That would be really cool.
Definitely. Flutter SVG, very simple. It just Flutter doesn't have built-in support for SVG files, and this package adds SVG support. I don't know why is there no support for SVG files in Flutter. Feels so natural to have.
They in general don't have real support for any kind of vector files. So I guess that's their main reason. Like, oh, we are not supporting any, so why would we support one?
Yeah,
I'm not very sure, but I think once I heard that because SVG support's not normalized along all platforms, it would be like a hassle to maintain an official library for that. But that's something that I think. Like, I mean, I'm not sure if that's the reason, but that's what I would bet it is.
I know there has been a draft for a sort of vector standard that was not SVG, but a different vector standard. They had a draft on there.
Oh yes, it was also even for a new one, right? They had the different options on the draft to use a existing one or to come up with a new one, and
yeah.
I think that one is very much a draft still.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Maybe in the future we'll have interesting vector support built in, but until then.
If you go to the Flutter SVG package, I think it mentions something about what kind of SVGs it supports and things that it don't support.
Right. Yeah, if you're more interested in SVGs, go into the Flutter SVG and check. And this is right on our README, so it's very easy to find. Tiled. Does anyone want to talk a bit about that?
Well, Tiled is a tiling application that allows you to just create your own maps in different how do you call them? Different projections, like to top down and platformer style or isometric styles. And basically they have a file format, and the Flamepad bridge allows us to integrate with that file format to automatically just render the map that you have designed. I think that's the easiest explanation.
Yeah, very useful too. All right, that's all the bridge libraries. If you did you have to drop out, Eric? Then we can continue with some questions, or do you want to stay? Do you have time to stay for a few more minutes?
Maybe some some 5-10 more minutes. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's do 5 minutes of questions then. So if anyone has questions, you can shoot them at us now. We have one here. The Around app has released an integrated minigame called Boom Party. I would like to know approximately how many megabytes increase in the app it would be if I inject a very basic game made with Flame, considering only the game engine without considering assets, images, etc. A Snake game, for example.
I
Virtually
suppose
none.
I would not even think about megabytes in that sense.
No,
Yeah.
Also
definitely
not
not.
considering assets.
Yeah, because if anyone is not aware, Flutter is using tree shaking for the dependencies. So if it pulls in the whole game engine, and then as your dependency, and then you don't use a lot of the things in the game engine, it will just remove all of those things before you build the engine, or before you build your app. So you will have very minimal footprint from the game. I mean, the footprint, it comes from the whole Flutter, having Flutter on your app. From Flame will be very little footprint.
And especially if you build in release mode, because then it's not even using the Dart VM, it's just basically, in a sense, like compiled code. Not completely, but yeah, basically that's it. Like the small it would be a really small increase in your app.
Yeah.
It would be quite interesting because I believe Orbit is a game that is built without any assets. So I'm quite curious how big that game is now, because basically, from what I understood, it was purely a Dart implementation. But
it would be very
someone will correct me on Discord in a second. So
yeah, it will be very interesting to see also the differences in size on different platforms, because I think that would vary a lot with Flutter.
Yeah, that's true.
The libraries are different.
Yeah, indeed. Any more questions out there, folks?
To get some stickers, right?
Exactly. I think we have a few people that. Right. So later, after the stream, come into our Discord. I can post the channel on here, or the server on here, if you're not already on there, and I will tell you who gets stickers. Oh, I can show you the stickers too. They're awesome. So we have lots and lots. Where let me see. Where are my camera? They look like this. These are pretty big stickers. And then we have some smaller stickers. And oh man, it's very hard to show. And they look better in reality than they do on my webcam. They look very nice.
So yeah, join our Discord to see if Lucas will grant you some stickers.
Exactly. Then I will send you some stickers for free. Very nice.
Oh, I should also send in a question so I can get a sticker.
Yes, you should. Does anyone have the Discord invite link handy, and you can post it in the
it's on our README.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually have the README here. That's true. There we go. Copy link address. Boom. Join our Discord. It's a lovely community. Yeah, if there's no more questions, I guess we can stop the stream, and Eric can go and help his girlfriend's parents move, or soon-to-be wife's parents move, or whatever it was. Yeah.
And if there are any questions, the Discord is always there for people to just ask them there, of course.
Yeah.
Lucas is pretty much workless anyway, so.
Exactly. I'm the Flame hobo. I have taken a year off to only work on Flame. Very nice.
To answer all your questions.
Yes, that is my duty in life. Yeah. All right. Thank you all for joining the stream and celebrating the version 1 release of Flame. It is finally out. Yeah. Now go and update all of your games to version 1, and we will. Oh, we have one last. So this is Pasha, who we were talking about earlier, who have done the effect system. that is a good question. Of course, we have synchronized our beards.
That we haven't synchronized our hairs though.
No, that's true.
I should probably just get a razor and just.
That is not fair.
We have a.
Oh,
Very nice.
Awesome.
All right.
Happy to see some community support.
Indeed, so nice. Anyways, let's cut the stream and come into our Discord for the after party. Good night or good evening or wherever you are in the world. Have a good one.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.